Good evening slash morning slash afternoon slash whatever time it is when you guys do Advent Code, everybody. I'm kind of here a little early. I got all set up, and then I realized there's still like 4 minutes left, and I don't really have much to discuss right now. So I thought I'll just kind of hang out and see what's going on with chat, and we'll get started eventually. I kind of predicted what's going on. Is like not much. Usually a person or two pops in eventually. Mark is pretty punctual, but I'm early, so who knows? Often what we do at this point is go over the changes that I made to the previous day's puzzle in between days, but I didn't really do anything here today. This seems fine, what we did yesterday. I did kind of have this dream of like going over, combining part 1 and part 2 into... Hello, Rose. I did think briefly about combining part 1 and part 2 into 2 different like scans, because I think they are both just monoids, or computing the minimum of 2 different things. You can do kind of composing, but like I don't really want to do that, so I didn't. Instead, we're just kind of sitting here. Oh, I did. That's true. I don't remember if I actually did this on camera or what. I thought of generalizing input to like be able to hold maybes, so that I could have an input of like maybe int and maybe non-empty of int. And then here I could, I could like construct an input of maybe and then turn it into an input of identity, and then I don't know. It like didn't seem like a good idea, so I threw it away. How do I forget? There we go. I get rid of the breadcrumbs. So, I don't know. How are we doing in terms of Advent Code coming out? We still got 2 minutes. I don't have much to say. We're just gonna... the waiting room. So, hey, actually, if anyone has questions, now's a good time. I'll probably take 15 minutes answering each question, so we'll be late to the puzzle, but that's all right. I know on... I should just open the YouTube view of this thing and not just try to manage it all from OBS. Because you can see stuff like how many people are watching, I think. Whereas in OBS, you can't see that. So, control room, is that where I want to go? Can I see anything here? 1 concurrent viewer. Okay, so I think that tells me who's here. The one person who has already chatted, so that's cool. Okay, yeah, well, you're probably right. If you come in at the beginning of the stream, you'll pick up more than if you show up in the middle of it. That's true. You can always, of course, watch the replays, but if you're available in the middle and you want to like do something else in the beginning, you might not want to go back to like watch from the middle and then go back to the beginning, I suppose. It certainly seems plausible. Yeah. Hey, puzzles here. Let's get started. Day 8. Here we go, day 8, 7-segment search. You barely reach the safety of the cave when the whale smashes into the cave mouth, collapsing it. Sensors indicate another exit to this cave at a much greater depth, so you have no choice but to press on. As your submarine slowly makes its way through the cave system, you notice that the 4-digit 7-segment displays in your submarine are malfunctioning. They must have been damaged during the escape. You'll be in a lot of trouble without them, so you'd better figure out what's wrong. Okay. Each digit is rendered by turning off or on any of 7 segments named A through G. A, B, C, D, F, G. Okay. So to render a 1, segments C and F. Okay, yes. Those are the normal 7 segments. The problem is that the signals which control the segments have been mixed up on each display. The submarine is still trying to display numbers by producing output on signal wires A through G, but those wires are connected to segments randomly. Worse, the wire segment connections are mixed up separately for each 4-digit display. All digits within a display have the same connection. Okay. You might know that only signal wires B and G are on. That doesn't mean segments B and G are turned on. The only digit that uses 2 segments is 1. So it must mean that C and F are intended to be on. Okay. With just that information, you still can't tell which wire B or G goes to which segment, C or F. For each display, you watch the changing signals for a while, make the note of all 10 unique signal patterns you see, then write down a single 4-digit output value. What? Okay. So here's what you might see as an entry. All 7, that's got to be 8, right? And these are not alphabetical, which is a little bit weird, but okay. I don't think that's important. I don't think the order is important. In your notes, it'll be a single line. 10 signal patterns, a pipe. And then finally, the 4-digit output value. Oh, I see. Right, so each display is trying to display a 4-digit number. So those are the numbers displayed here, right? The number it's trying to display. And this is the 7 or 8 or 10 unique ways that the lights can ever be on. So for example, CDFEB will appear here. Okay. And this is another thing that displays sometimes, right? Yes. Wait, no, those are different. FCADB? Okay. The unique corresponds to the 10 ways, tries to render a single digit. FC, oh, I see. These are the same. If you sort them, they're the same. Got it. With this seems like a more difficult problem than the previous ones. Because 7 is the only digit that uses 3 segments. DAB must mean that it's 7 using D, A, and B. For now, focus on the easy digits. So let's go look up here. This uses all but 1 digit, for example. 0, but so does 6. You can't tell 0 and 6 apart without more information. 7 uses 3 digit, 1 uses 2 digits. Is 4 the only one that uses 4 digits? It looks like it. Or segments. 0, 6, and also, of course, 9 use all but 1. 8 uses all 7. That's very easy. Okay. Should be able to tell which combination of signals. How many times in the output digits do 1, 4, 7, and 8 appear? Well, so 1 uses 2 digits, 4 uses 4, 7 uses 3, and 8 uses all 7. And I think those are unique, right? That's why they're telling me these are the easy digits. So that's actually really simple, because we can just count in the output how many times there are digits with either 2, 3, 4, or 7 digits in them. We don't even have to decode what they mean at all. I assume part 2 is going to be like add together all of the numbers being produced by the displays, right? Something like that. Multiplying them would probably get too large, yeah. Okay, well, this should be interesting. I think, I mean, well, okay. Let's just get started and see how it goes. Oh, whoops. Give me my input.text, please. Cool. So, I mean, we could do part 1 just with string manipulation, but I want the same input to both parts, really, and I assume I'm going to need to parse this at some point, right? So we could define our data types now. So I have to parse it at least enough to, like, yeah, let's go ahead and parse it. Data segment, let's say, is A or B or C or D or E or F, G, deriving, enum, show, read. We might want to put these in a map or something. We'll give them eq and ord as well, why not? I'm doing a read here because I think I'm going to just cheat a little on parsing these things. No, I don't know. I'll just do it right. Text regex applicative. By the way, I think I was confused earlier when I said, oh, look, lift A3 is in Prelude these days. It's not. I'm importing text regex applicative, which re-exports some stuff from control applicative, I think. So I think that's why I was confused. So that's what a segment is. And our input, well, let's say a digit, new type, is a digit comprising a list of segments that are on, right? We'll give it show, why not? And then we need a data display, which is a display containing first a list of digits. And then another list of digits, I guess. Right, there's the 10 ways that it has to display a number. Those are going to be the first digits. And then it's going to have a list of digits, which is the 4 things it's trying to display. And using a list here feels kind of bad, because I know it should have exactly size 4, but I don't think there's much value in defining a new type of size 4. And so our input is a list of display, and we need regex for parsing inputs. So the first thing is like segment is a regex for segment, and I gave this read because I kind of was thinking of cheating, but we'll just do it like the kind of boring way that works. Segment is actually what I was going to say is the way that you would cheat would be to read a single digit character and then convert it to uppercase and then call read on it, and you would get a segment back. But I think what we can do instead is bounded as well. Actually, enum starts at 0. Well, but we have to do max bound, right? So what we can do is map a function over the enumeration of all segments to produce for each a parser for that, and then sum them all together, right? We can say a segment is a sum, which I probably have to import from somewhere, of do seg from min bound to max bound, I guess. I think that's implied, but maybe it's not. And then we can say sim of to upper of show seg. So that's a thing we can parse, and we will just map the segment itself into that, right? Does that parse at all? Let's see what GHCI thinks. I'm sure. Well, hang on. Why can't I just ask Emacs? Two uppers not in scope. Main isn't defined. Yeah, okay, fine. Everything's broken. That's what I thought might happen. Let's just like undefined, make everything undefined, please. Two upper, so where is that? And also, why is it not suggesting to me to import the right thing? So let's look on Google for asum. Where is it? It's in control applicative. And I assume import data.char to upper. Like, does that not exist? Control applicative does not export asum. Did I read something wrong? I see it right here in Google. Control.applicative. Did I like spell something wrong? It's right there. Look. Asum. Here it is, asum. And it's in base. And it's in control.applicative. What? GHCI, do you agree? It's right there. I should I showed you guys the wrong browser window. Sorry. Here, this is what I meant to be looking at. ASUM. There you go. I look at the source. It's like ASUM. I know it's just this, but okay, it's in data foldable. So why is it also showing up as in control applicative? I don't know. Am I using some insanely... What? Oh, okay. This time I did actually do it wrong. It's, the operator is this. There you go. Head of show of seg, because show of seg could be multiple characters long. Couldn't match. Oh. Wait, no. Well, this is a list comprehension that I'm writing here, isn't it? So I'm inside the... I think I want pure of this. Okay. All right, so we have a parser now that matches segments. Let's see if it works. Let's say A, B, C equal tilde many segment nothing. That's not great. Oh, it should be too lower. There. So that parses to ABC, and if we say, okay, it was, AB9, it says, oh, no, that doesn't parse. So great. That's what we wanted, finally. Kind of shameful that it took me so long to parse a segment. Doing it the kind of boring way would have been easier. I could have just written A of A, B of B, C of C, and so on, but okay, fine. So now we need a parser for digits. Well, digit is just many segments, so I'm not even going to bother with that. Well, no, but I have to map. Okay, fine. Digit is a regex for digit. Digit is digit of many segments. That's easy. And input is... Now, what is the type of replicate? Is that in control monad? Control monad. Yeah, it does. It just takes applicatives. So that's what we have here. So input is... First of all, it's a regex of input. And input is digit, no, display of, well, yeah, I guess that's fine. There are going to be in my input 7 digits, each with a space after them. So I can say replicate M7 a digit and ignoring a space after it. And then we'll have a sim pipe. And then we will have replicate M4 sim space ignored followed by a digit, right? So you have to import replicate m from, I guess, control monad. Match display with list of display. Oh. You're right. This is just how we parse. Okay. This is a parser for a display. And input is a regex input, which is just an input over many of display followed by sim new line. I don't have an input, so it's actually just many of these. Okay. So we've now got, I hope, a parser for this whole thing. And if I were to say grab a single line of my input. Don't paste the new line though. Match that against input. Oh, I didn't reload. No instance for show display, but it didn't, oops, hang on. It didn't fail to parse. Displays just aren't showable. Okay, it also failed to parse. Did I say there were 7 of these? There should be 10. Okay, that's better. Great. We read this thing. Great. So finally, we can do the really easy part of doing part 1. I could have done part 1 with just strings, but now we have like a useful domain model, right? So prepare is from maybe empty list of equal tilde input. Like, is that it? I should add this to my like imports for every day. Import data maybe from maybe. Okay. So part 1 takes an input and produces an int. And part 1 of it's going to be length dot filter lm. How many digits are in the digits we're looking for? 1, 4, 7, and 8 use a unique number of segments. So we're looking for 2, 4, 3, and 7. Length. And we're going to, before we do any of that, we're going to bind the whole thing to displayed digit, where displayed digits of we're looking at a single display. So display D's equal D's. No, this is... I have a list of digits. And each digit is a list of segments, but it's wrapped in a new type. Should I use a lens here? Is this... It's obviously like... I mean, just using a record type at all is going to be simple enough, right? Segments, the list of segment, and display is all patterns and reading, maybe, are both list of digits. So really what I want is display digits is segments.reading. Sigh. What, okay, what are you actually upset about? The second one looks... Okay, maybe it would help if I gave myself a type signature. Display digits, I intended to have a type display to list of digits. No, list of... Oh. List of segment, really. Oh, I see. Yeah, well... Yeah, the problem is... I have to bind twice because I'm going through 2 levels of lists. So first, we get out the reading, and then we get from that the list of segments in it. No, everything is still bad. Why is part 2 lighting up? Okay. This could have been so much easier if I hadn't just been like trying to compose functions. If I'd had a data value in scope to talk about. So first of all, let's take this and name it. Displayed digits, as it was a moment ago, where displayed digits is a function from display to list of segment is this. So like, is this, what part of this is wrong? Both parts, great. Oh, every part, everything's bad. Oh. Well, I don't have just a single display, I have lots. God. What have I done to myself? What is... My input is a list of display. And so I'm mapping this function, well, I'm binding this function over it to compute the digits it's displaying. And to see what digits are displaying on a display, we bind first to we look at what's reading on it. Okay, maybe they're, maybe one of those binds was a bad idea. So here, this is close. Couldn't match type int with list of function. Oh no. I have a function. So length composed with bind to displayed digits. Oh, I think I'm doing too much binding here. I'm just getting out like let's throw this whole piece of garbage away and just write it recursively, and I'll figure out what I'm supposed to do. Part 1 of displays equals part 1 equals go 0. We're just gonna implement fold by hand because I'm too dumb to do a function composition. Where go of counter and empty equals counter, and go counter counter and display ignored reading cons to more equals if no equals go what have I done? We're gonna have to go let's say counter prime of more. There you go. Where counter prime equals counter plus we have a display and we have let's just ask GHCI. What should I write here, please? So I've written a whole it's inferring the type of T, but it doesn't know what type it is for some reason. I thought it would infer that by the outer scope. It's supposed to be an int, isn't it? Or a function from something to int? I don't know. It's an int. I don't know why I can't tell that. Plus, so I have a list of digit, and I just want to length filter equal elem of 2, 3, 4, 7 of the segments of reading, right? No, because the segments is a new type wrapper. So I want, no, but I called segments and it gave me back. My reading is a list of digit, right? I'm like lost in the maze of types that I built. And it's not even a long maze. I have a list of digits. Okay, let's instead of all this stuff, length of filter simple digit of reading. And reading is a list of digits. So let's say simple digit is a function from digit to bool. How much do you like? You love that. The only problem is that there's a hole and I should fill it. But everything else compiles. Okay. And simple digit takes a digit, we just call segments. Like, it seems like I wrote this a million times. It's that, right? Okay. Fine. Error, undefined. Okay, what did I forget? I left part 2 as undefined. $381. Finally done with this insanely easy part 1. And then I have to do the hard part. Okay. Day 8, part 1. Well, that's something. Huh. I just happened to notice something funny looking at the YouTube live control room, which usually I haven't been doing. I've been looking just at OBS, and it's like, by the way, the current audio bitrate is lower than we recommend. It's 0. Yeah, I stopped talking for a second. Just leave me alone. I'm trying to do programming here. Okay, continue to part 2. You should now be able to determine the remaining digits. What do you get if you add up all the output values? Yeah, that's exactly what I predicted would be part 2. So I hate this. If we just look at 1, 4, 7, and 8, is that enough to uniquely determine all of every digit? It could be. Maybe. Let me go look. So 1 has these 2. There's no way to tell C and F apart using just 1, 4, 7, and 8 because they all have C and F on. So, you do have to do more. This is like a sudoku, right? Kind of? Like a really easy sudoku that I don't... That's still like hard to program. So, are there any digits, any segments that are like uniquely specified by just 1, 4, 7, and 8? I don't think so. I think I'm gonna have to do something fancier, but Because B, well, 8 doesn't tell us anything, right? We can just throw away 8. Because everything is on in 8. But we can work out what B and D and A are from 1, 4, and 7, right? Because A is only on in 7. D is only on in 4, and B is only on in 4. And how many are there with, okay, so with, if we know what D is, we can work out which digit is 0, but I don't think that matters too much, right? Doesn't help us figure out any more digits. So like, okay, the kind of like thing that seems sort of obvious to me, but like not easy, is to kind of just build a map basically from segment that is actually displaying to list of segments this could be intended to be, right? And if we get if we see like AG as one of our digits, we'll say, oh, this must be digit 1. And so A and G are each either C or F. And then later I'll get some other constraint to apply to A that'll tell me, oh, it's either C or B. And I'll be like, well, I already knew it was either C or F, so it must be C. Therefore A is C, therefore G is F, that kind of thing, right? And you could do that like for every, you could just do that from scratch for every set of digits. The thing is, though, it's like, it's a single problem that you're just being asked to solve 100 times. You could just like do this by hand, right? You could say, you could work out the same process. Just look at the ones and then mark them as either C or F, and I don't know. Any digit that appears in a 1 and a 0. Well, okay. Any digit that appears in a 1 and a 5, we know is F. But how do we know which one's 5? Well, it shares exactly one digit with 1, but so does 2. So, I don't know. Like, I did this constraint solving thing, I think last year, maybe it was 2 years ago. There's something about finding train tickets or seats on a plane or something that was just a sudoku, basically. But like a really easy sudoku where an entire diagonal of the grid was already filled in for you. Okay, so I guess what we should do at some point is encode into the program some knowledge of which segments are on for which number, right? That's surely going to be important. We'll tell it that 0 has A, B, E, F, and G, 1 has C and F, and so on. And then for each displayed weird messed up digit that we see, we will mark each segment that it's displaying as being one of, as let's say not being one of the segments that's off in all of the things that are that size? Is that useful? Like if we see that B is displayed in 1, we'll know that B can't be anything but C or F. I guess another interesting question might be how many different digits does each segment appear? I don't think that's actually going to be that useful. But like, you know, the C segment is on in all but 2 of them, these 2. So it's on in 8. The B segment is on in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The F segment is on in all but 1? Ooh, that's interesting, isn't it? This is the only digit that doesn't have an F in it. And that lets me tell which segment is F. Yeah, no kidding, Rubik's. I hate this puzzle. You're gonna love what I wrote already. It's just a mess for part 1. It didn't turn out to look that bad when I was finished, but I wrote this whole parser and I've got like digits and segments and displays, and I got like lost in a maze of nested lists basically. But I was analyzing like whether there's some fancier way to solve this than just doing like a brute force search for everything. And I had just noticed that F appears in 9 of the digits, and so you can like get a count. Like that's how you can find F. But I don't know if like that helps. You know, if you find something that's present in, is there anything else that's present in 9 digits? Like, no, definitely not. How many G's are there? 7. Wasn't that how many C's there were as well? No, there are 8 C's. But there are 7 A's also. No, there's 8 A's. Okay, so you can't tell, for example, A and C apart by just counting them. Okay, and I guess there's a little bit more you can do, right? Because I was saying, okay, if you look at a 1, you can say, oh, these 2 digits must be C and F in some order. But there's more than that, right? You can also look at all the digits that aren't part of the 1 and say, well, they aren't C or F. Right? So ugh, I hate this. No leaderboard points today, boys. Unlike all those other days when I complete this lightning fast, they were going slow. I mean, so the puzzle is hinting pretty strongly to look at 1, 4, 7, and, well, not 8, right? Because 8 is uninteresting. I want like a constraint solver here, and I don't know how to use constraint solvers, so it wouldn't help me to have one, but I feel like that's the tool you should use here. Because, like, well, why did I say that I could tell? Right, I can tell which digit is F pretty easily. But I'm not sure what to do with that. And then I can tell which digit is C pretty easily. But, oh man, I don't know. I like don't really want to do this puzzle. I know, like, last year in 2020, I actually did all the puzzles, except I skipped part 2 of the one about the jigsaw puzzle. And there were definitely years where I finished everything, and there were years where I just kind of gave up around day 15, like that horrible, what was it, 2019? 2018? I think it was 2019. Where it was like, simulate this complicated, it was just a really detailed set of rules that you had to follow very carefully. And that was when I was like, you know what, no more Advent of Code this year. And, you know, I would like to do all the puzzles, but I don't want to do this. This doesn't seem like a fun time, so I think I'm just not going to do it today. So, there you go. That's the end of today's puzzle and today's video. What am I doing? Why can't I? Oh, here we go. It just like does not seem like a fun kind of search to write. I'm sure that writing it would be educational for me, but I'm not going. So, you know, we'll come up with a clickbait title for the video at some point when part 2 is just too hard. That feel when part 2 is just too hard? I don't know. If any of you in the chat finished today, then, you know, good for you. It was, I think, not an easy one. And I feel kind of stupid because I went to all this effort to, like, write a proper, good parser and a decent data model, even though, as I said, I don't need it for part 1. I could just, like, look at the last tokens, the tokens after the pipe in the input and, like, count lengths or something. But I wrote this better thing for part 2, and now I'm like, I don't really want to do part 2. So, yeah, that's it for today. Hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks for watching, and hopefully we'll do more tomorrow.